kind of disappointed last night. I was gonna tell them when they had to walk down to the city.
Who?
Those little kids that were in, oh, you were here.
Oh, yeah, I saw you walk down here.
Good afternoon. Today is the third day of December, 2024, 3 o'clock. This is the public meeting of the Board of Uintah County Commission held in the Commission Room in court at the State and County Building in Vernal, Utah. We have today Deanne Nyberg and Tonya Craven. Deanna will give us the prayer. Tonya will give us the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that we could meet today and discuss matters of Uintah County. And we're very grateful for the community in which we live and for the sense of camaraderie that we feel in this area, especially this time of year. And we ask Thee to bless us as we discuss the matters of Uintah County, that Thy Spirit will be with us and we will act in a manner that's pleasing unto Thee, and that we will make decisions in the best interest of the county. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, ladies. Appreciate it. If you haven't, please sign in before you leave and put your phones on silent or turn them off. Just so I turned mine off this time, so it shouldn't ring. Okay, Mr. Wilkins? Nope, stand by. Approval of the minutes for October 29th, 24 meeting, November 25th, 24 work session, and November 25th, 24 meeting.
I would make a motion that we approve the minutes as stated.
Okay, I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Now, Mr. Wilkins, it's your call.
Commissioners, I have warrants from November 27th, the amount of $444,120.86.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
$444,120.86.
Thank you.
And there are no claims and nothing, just the bills that time.
Okay.
Tax matters.
Commissioners, I have a tax matter here it's a settlement offer that has been presented and agreed upon with Karis Natural Buttes LLC for 2 parcels that they own. This is still pending. The tax commission has signed off on it. Our attorneys have signed off on it. Karis's attorneys have signed off on it. Now they're just waiting for the 3rd District Court to sign off on it. But in order for this to get through and be processed in the time matter that's part of the settlement, this is our last commission meeting to do so. So with that, Commissioners, I present the Karis Natural Buttes LLC refund, serial number 50-011-3674 and serial number 50-011-3155. And just for the public's information, when this first came out, we were looking at about a $1.3 million refund. Through negotiations with Karis, we were able to get them to reduce this down to $850,000. But one thing is that has to be made by payment needs to be made by December 10th. This was given to the district court last week. Being holidays, it didn't get signed. We keep hoping every minute that it's going to get signed. So I present that to you at this point for the $850,000 total refund on both parcels.
Okay, call for motion.
I make a motion that we approve this payment of the settlement in the amount of $850,000, pending receiving the signed
Right.
order from the judge.
I've got the stipulation, everything signed by all the attorneys, state, everything. We're just waiting on the judge to sign it.
Okay.
And just for Uintah County's share, that is approximately $248,000 will be the county's share of the $850,000.
And I would make that motion.
Any discussion? All right. Call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next is the public hearing for the 2025 budget. During this hearing, Mr. Wilkins will be retained there to be able to answer your phones or your questions. And we will have a person come up if they want to talk on this microphone over here, please.
That's for
Okay.
public comment, not hearing.
So I want you to understand that this is the time for you to come
make sure
forth
that
and talk
Sonia
to us.
gets one. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, we will take your comments and we'll be glad to answer any questions we can. Okay. However, remember, there might be something we don't have an answer for, but we'll let you know. This is a recorded public meeting. If someone would like to make a comment, please be civil. Approach the microphone. Make sure that it's free before you start talking. Give us your name and then tell us what your questions or answers or concerns are, please. Be respectful, don't interrupt. Please wait your turn. It'll be a total of 30 minutes with a 5-minute to make each comment. Any comments, please come forward.
Are you ready for me to present it?
Sure, present it.
Okay, Commissioners, I present to you, and you have a copy, and you're both aware of it for months now. We've been working on it. The 2025 budget being presented is currently out of balance for the general and municipal service funds. The county is currently short in revenue by $2,829,000. The library is budgeted to spend $492,700 of their fund balance to balance their requested 25 budget. The budget being presented includes $351,600 in increases as a selective salary adjustment, or 2.5%. This is not for every employee. What I did there is went through and took what we were and what the currently proposed approved is, and that's what the difference is. The budget reflects an increase in estimated sales tax of $1,939,000 for the general and municipal service fund. With the repeal of the sales tax resolution for law enforcement and law enforcement budget having increased more than $5.3 million since 2021, including an increase of 24 to 25 of $1,198,000, there is insufficient revenue for law enforcement services at this time. Property taxes have been decreased by more than $3.1 million from 2017 to 2022. In 2017, the county charged $10,917,000 for county services, not including the general obligation payment. The county charged $7,812,500 for county services in '24, and that is all that's budgeted this year. We can't budget any more of that without going through truth and taxation. Uintah County has not seen any new growth revenue from centrally assessed properties since 2016. In 2024, Uintah County has refunded back to centrally assessed taxpayers a total of $1,385,450, of which Uintah County's share of those refunded amounts is $339,566. That does include the one we just processed, tentatively approved right now. Uintah County received new growth from locally assessed property in the amount of $41,602 in 2023 and $55,000 in 2024. However, this is not enough revenue to cover the salary of one employee. The county received no new growth dollars from locally assessed property from 2017 through 2022. If you'll go over to page 2, or let's go all the way over to page 4 I will go down the revenues for general fund. Total taxes summary, $15,356,400. I'm just doing the summary lines here. Total licenses and permits, $180,200. Total intergovernmental revenue, $1,521,800. Moving to page 5, total state grant summary, $2,248,800. Total charges for services, $583,600. Bottom of page 5, total jail revenues, $4,069,800. Moving to page 6, total Children's Justice Center, $430,800. Streets and public improvements, $5,031,000. Total other miscellaneous revenue, $1,000. Total fines and forfeitures, $413,000. Moving now to page 7, total miscellaneous revenues of $857,600. Total airport revenue of $14,000. That all just gets passed through back to Vernal City. Total contributions and transfers, $2,772,400 from assessing and collecting. So total revenue currently projected is $33,480,400. Moving now to page 9, individual departments' budgets. Commission, $584,000. Justice Court, $390,000. Public Defender, $1,118,200. CCJ Pretrial Services, $600,000. Human Resources, $433,500. IT Department, $1,174,500. GIS Department, $294,000. Clerk-Auditor, $876,900. Treasurer, $456,600. Recorder, $796,500. Attorney, $2,524,700. Assessor, $963,000. County Surveyor, $105,000. General Miscellaneous, $595,000. Facilities, $1,186,600. Public Safety Complex, $817,500. Emergency Services, $540,000. Corrections, $9,189,100. Opioid Funds, $124,900. Children's Justice Center, $475,200. Mental Health, $203,400. Road Department, $4,991,000. Weed Department, $220,800. Airport, $14,000. Buckskin Hills, $622,100. Cemetery Funds, $409,600. Extension, $219,100. Grant Funds, $2,106,500. Economic Development, $316,100. Associations, $299,300. General Fund Transfers, $1,650,000. Termination Benefits, $41,000 for total expenses of $34,338,100. Moving to the next page for the Municipal Service Fund. Page 10, total taxes, $857,700. Total licenses and permits, $56,000. Total non-business licenses and permits, $275,000. Total intergovernmental revenue, $3,685,100. Total charges for services, $118,000. Total public safety, $647,700. Total other revenue, $794,000, for a total revenue of $6,433,500. The departmental budget on that one on page 13. Community Development, $1,187,200. Sheriff Department, $6,698,700. Liquor Law Enforcement, $80,000. Street Lights and Signs, $65,500. Grants Department, $313,000. Termination Benefits, $61,000. If we go back to page 2 and 3, as labeled on the bottom of them, assessing and collecting, these from here on, the revenues and expenses match with the revenue sources coming in and the expenses going out. So assessing and collecting revenue, $2,772,400. Library, 2 million. Flood control, 350,500. Library, 2,097,500. Tri-County Health Department, 535,800. That's our contribution to them. Transient room tax, $3,010,100. Food service tax, $810,000. Drug court, $96,400. Historic preservation, $10,000. B Road, $10,488,700. Emergency 911, $368,300. Municipal Building Authority, $2,150,400. Capital projects, $8,772,000. Uintah Care Center, $600,000. Western Park, $2,552,700. Telecommunications, $171,000. Landfill, $952,700. Tort liability, $673,400. Self-fund insurance, $5,620,500. Regional History Center, $16,000. Tax Stability Trust, $40,000. Lester Gert Fund, $29,000. Avalon Cemetery, $4,900. Dry Fork Cemetery, $20,000. Moving down to Jensen Cemetery at $5,000. Moving down to Leota Cemetery at $2,500. Mazer Cemetery, $10,000. Rock Point Cemetery, $175,000. And the County City Cemetery Association at $764,400. For a total revenue budgeted for the county is $83,013,100. Total expenditures is $85,842,700. So with that, Commissioners, that is a report and a presentation of the 2025 budget as it stands today. The budget will not be adopted today. It will not be adopted until December 17th, which will be the last meeting of the year and has to be adopted before the end of the year.
Okay. Anybody like to make a comment, please come forth. Mark, over here.
Nope.
Over here, Mark.
We don't know if you got a virus on your computer to go into our system.
Well, I have some information that you probably like to be able to see. I'm sorry that you can't see it. I'll do my best to explain it. You would think our county would be more amenable to information, but apparently I have to bend over at this thing. Okay, so the first slide I was going to show shows all the funds, and it shows where you were at with the preliminary budget that was presented to the commissioners during the budget meeting. And that had you were out of balance by $7,134,000. And now today, all the funds are in balance except for the general fund and municipal services. You're out of balance by $2,829,600. Those are the numbers you just presented. So I've gone through your budget, and I had a couple suggestions where I think on your revenue, you can come up with the revenue to balance out. In the general fund, you're short by $857,000. You've got $1 million transfer in the general fund to the capital projects fund. I kind of refer to the capital project fund as one of your slush funds, and so there's no capital projects planned. You've got $8 million already in there. You want add another million, when I haven't seen a capital plan to see that you really need that money. So I think it'd be easy to do away with that $1 million transfer. I don't see the need for it. You could increase your interest income by $400,000, and that would put it under what you earned in 2023. And your assessing and collecting revenue, you could increase that by another $500,000. That would give you enough to transfer to municipal services, $1,029,700. That would square up the general fund. You'd be in balance. With that transfer to the municipal service fund, you would need some more money there because you're short there by $1,971,900. Between the preliminary budget and the tentative budget, you reduce the sales tax in the municipal services fund. It was $1.5 million. You reduced it by $642,000. The projections that were shown by Caleb, they looked pretty good, so I'm not sure why we're cutting $642,000 out of municipal services sales tax. So I think you could restore that. On the PILT, I think you can do another 150, and that'll get you close to what you got this year. It will be under what you got this year. And your interest, you could do another 150,000. Then the transfer from the general fund of $1,029,700 gets you balanced in that fund. So just looking at the revenue items, you can get balanced right there. Now, on the interest, you know, you might say, well, just to look at the interest. So in 2023, you made $4,088,000 in interest, $4 million. In the 2025 preliminary budget, you only budgeted $707,000 for interest. That's $3.3 million. In this tentative budget, you've changed it to $737,000. So you've got about $3.3 million. Interest rates are coming down, but if you look at PTIF, currently, and I have slides for all this. I wish that you would have allowed me to show this, but currently PTIF in October, 365-day yield was 5.0377. So you're still getting good interest. There's another quarter point interest cut that the Fed's talking about, but the market rates have not been following their cut. They've been staying up. So I think you're pretty safe. And I mean, you got a $3.3 million in interest that you could probably play with there. And so that's the revenue side. On the expense side, I haven't been able to analyze those because the code says that for 10 days, I believe it's 10 days. Let me look at it. I think it's 10 days before this meeting. You're supposed to have the budget and all the supporting schedules available for the public the whole time that the clerk's office is open. I've been there twice during that period of time. Neither time was I able to get the supporting schedules. I went the first time and said, well, would you make those available to me when I come back? I came back today, it still wasn't available. I said, I don't have time to keep coming back here. This is twice. These are supposed to be available to the public. They're not. What I really needed, I needed the salary schedules, your staffing plan, so that I could see your expenses, because that's where the heart of your expenses are, is in the salaries. I have not been able to review that because you haven't provided that information. There's probably cuts you can do in your expenses. I don't know, though. I haven't looked at it, so because it was not made available to the public.
Anyone else? Anyone else comment? Going once? Going twice? Gone. Okay. We'll be out of public comment on the 2025 budget. Moving right along, number 6, professional engineering services agreement for Ashley Gorge environmental clearances. Gennie?
Just quickly before Jenny goes, I just wanted to also state that I'm sure all of you are aware, but this is not the final budget. We are still working on it. As it is not in balance, we will make sure we pass a balanced budget. So it is still being worked on.
Jenny Bird, Purchasing and Grants. I have an agreement from Sunrise Engineering for professional engineering services for the Ashley Gorge RTP cultural and environmental clearances. The service fee is $24,900, and Access Utah has agreed to pay that, so the county will not be paying this invoice, and it's still being funded completely by 2 grants and our partner Access Utah. So I'm asking for the Commission's approval to sign this agreement.
Do you have a motion?
Yes. I would make a motion that we approve the professional engineering services agreement for Ashley Gorge environmental clearances as presented by Gennie Bird.
Any comments, discussion? Okay, I do want to point out I do have a copy of that contract, and attached to it is a letter from the Utah Outdoor, or Education Outdoor Access Fund stating that, in fact, we are committed to the success of this project and commit to paying Sunrise Engineering the proposed $24,900 for the cultural biological surveys for the Ashley Gorge via Ferrata project. Okay, call for a motion.
I did.
I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Campbell, Economic Development Strategic Planning Update.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Travis Campbell with Economic Development. I'm here to provide you with an update on the effort to update the economic development section of the county's general plan. I think although we'll see some similar dynamics through this process that we saw during with the last update, we wanted to get this updated and also put some emphasis on the strategic planning element of this section to ensure that we have responsible and sustainable growth. To update the process, it will take a few months. We're in the relatively early stages here, but we did send out our initial survey to some community leaders. That survey was meant to get a sense of their sentiments on current economic health and where the county is, and that's what I wanted to share with you today, is just what those responses were. So I guess first to give you a little bit of background here quickly, this whole effort started back in 2023 when we were in the application stages of the annual Rural County Grant. This is a grant administered through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity for economic development purposes. GOEO, or the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, they recognizing that not all rural communities are the same, provides this resource to rural communities throughout the state, and that allows each county to identify current economic development needs and how this funding would be best utilized in each county. So part of that process involves the Uintah County Economic Opportunity Advisory Board, which plays a major role in this process each year. And that board is made up of representatives from various businesses and industries and organizations here locally. And they make the recommendations on where this funding should be used. For 2024, the General Plan Update Project was just one of 8 different programs identified by the advisory board for this funding, and that recommendation was to direct a small portion of those grant funds to be used to hire a firm to help us work through this process to update the general plan. So along with the firm we had hired and representatives from Vernal City, Naples City, and Ballard, we as a steering committee identified about 100. All right, time's up.
Your
Sorry.
5 minutes is up.
Okay, thank you. I'll try and talk faster. But we did identify about 100 local organizations whom we sent this initial survey to get their thoughts on the county today. This group included the leadership or representatives from local organizations, kind of across the board, larger employers, small businesses, utility and water providers, education institutions, hospitality providers, hotels, restaurants, some of our land managing partners, and just general community organizations. So we received about 25% response rate, which isn't a huge number, but it's higher than we were anticipating for this initial survey. Our firm that does this pretty regularly typically sees a 10 to 15% response rate, so we were happy with 25 on this one. And then you can see from the graph there kind of what the makeup was from where each of these respondents came from. So now for today's purpose, just to kind of summarize what those responses were, not to go through each question and each response, but to give you a good summary of all of those responses. We put all of that into a kind of a SWOT analysis to look at the strengths, weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of the county right now. This is all based on these survey responses, so this isn't my opinion. It's not the county's opinions, but just the opinions of those community leaders and those members of the business community. So starting off with the strength section, we do have a high quality of life with access to diverse outdoor activities like hiking, biking, hunting, fishing, all of which enhances the overall quality of life here in Uintah County. And there's also a sense of a strong sense of freedom and independence here in Uintah. With regard to tourism and recreation, we've got a strong industry there in tourism and outdoor recreation. I think we can throw arts in there too, so there's that sense for a strength we have here. Our respondents also believe our local workforce is known for being very hardworking and dedicated, and with access to institutions like UB Tech, which offer specialized training, our workforce is skilled, and more generally speaking, we do have a strong, innovative, and entrepreneurial spirit here in Uintah County with our workforce. So not only are our natural resources important for recreation, due to the proximity to our federal lands and public lands and our state parks, the Ashley, the National Monument, but also the importance with the abundance of energy resources, which makes our oil and gas industry everything it is. Also on that list, the sense of community culture. We do have a strong sense of community with relatively low crime and good neighborly trust. There's a strong culture of support and self-reliance, hardworking individuals, and deep-rooted values, whether those be religious or social or economic. And then finally, in the strengths category, our location, situated between Salt Lake and Colorado, as well as tourist destinations like Moab and Yellowstone, our access to public lands. And although we are somewhat isolated, our location provides that rural appeal and an escape from urban living that's beneficial. So now onto the weaknesses. The reliance on the oil and gas industry can create economic vulnerability, especially during downturns, which then impacts the rest of the economy. We lack major transportation infrastructure, like larger multi-lane interstate highways, railroads, and the opportunity for potential ports, because all of our supplies and goods must be transported by truck. The logistical cost and the increases, and that puts limits on general commerce. So this is also where our location has some drawbacks, just due to the distance from the major urban centers. There was also a sense from our respondents that some residents in Uintah County have a resistance to growth and change, fearing that it will disrupt the small town feel and the sense of community that I mentioned, and that could lead to issues, that change could lead to issues seen in other areas that saw fast, rapid growth and then stagnation. Another weakness that we identified here was housing and childcare. Not having, it's nothing unique to Uintah County. I think across the state, affordable housing is increasingly scarce, especially for a younger generation, and also the access to childcare, especially during the non-regular business hours, is limited, and that can make it difficult for families with working parents. Respondents were also concerned about water management and availability. There are concerns over government overreach in land and water use, which could lead to conflicts between federal and local authorities when it comes to water. And lastly, budgeting, good timing. While the county has been financially stable, there are concerns about long-term sustainability from this survey. So now as we move on to opportunities, there is a clear need for and an opportunity to diversify beyond oil and gas, something we talk about often. So we can do this by fostering tourism, by fostering small business growth and manufacturing, and any other high value industry. Also, with the county's unique outdoor attractions and the proximity to public lands and those tourist destinations, there is a significant potential to grow the tourism and outdoor recreation sectors, which would also further support the general local business economy. We have opportunities for sustainable growth, an opportunity we have right now, and why we are kind of making these updates to the general plan to pursue a balanced approach to growth that supports the economy during both the boom and bust cycles of the oil and gas industry and the tourism industry. This will help foster long-term sustainability, and encourage development without overwhelming the community, which would help us maintain that rural charm. So considering education and workforce development, we have an opportunity to invest and improve local education, expanding technical training programs that will equip the next generation with skills needed for those emerging and those high-value industries, which would also help us to retain young people in the community. And then lastly, under opportunities, there is potential to develop manufacturing industries and improve local infrastructure. This could help reduce the reliance on those external resources and help attract new businesses. Now, when we consider the threats to economic health, the county's economy is heavily tied to oil and gas and tourism, both of which are susceptible to market fluctuations. A downturn due to federal regulations or environmental concerns could hurt the overall economy. And federal interventions or federal policies by public land officials can impose restrictions on land use and natural resources, all limiting the county's ability to grow and to generally manage its own resources. Again, concerns with water rights and availability pose a significant long-term threat to both the general growth of the county and agriculture, potentially limiting future development opportunities. And then, as I mentioned before, the resistance to growth and that sense of concern within the community that could stifle efforts to modernize the economy and grow infrastructure, things like expanding roads, increasing housing, increasing public services, all of which may hinder development. When we look at education and workforce challenges, there were concerns in the surveys to the quality of elementary education that could limit future workforce potential and leave young adults underprepared for modern job markets, which in turn does hamper the overall economic development of the county. And then finally, cost of living, something else that is not unique to Uintah County, but rising costs of living, including housing, do make it difficult for younger generations to remain in the county, which also exacerbates the workforce shortages and could lead to stagnation. So with that, I just wanted to share these initial responses with you. We'll continue to provide updates as we work through this process and as we gather more information. So from here, we'll continue to share this information with some of our municipal partners. We'll reconvene our steering committee to take this information and identify our next steps, our goals, and our objectives based on this feedback so that we can continue public outreach and continue some of these surveys to the general public and conduct a few more studies to really gather enough information to really then present recommendations for the general plan to you all, hopefully next spring. So with that, thank you for the time. Happy to answer any questions if you have them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Craven, you have the 24 holiday schedule announcement, adjustment, and a 25 holiday schedule.
Tonya Craven, Human Resources. I am just bringing our policy, our holiday schedule up. It's policy 420. In our previous meeting, it had been requested to have Christmas Eve as a half-day work day, and that seemed to be an idea that everyone was supportive of. So I wanted to bring that up just because in order for that to be paid holiday, we need to have that as part of our policy. And so I've incorporated it into the county commission has designated the following holidays, and I've added that Christmas Eve 4 hours. That's
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
You want to present the 25?
What's that?
You want to present the 25 holiday schedule?
Oh, sorry.
Would you like to present the 25 holiday schedule?
Well,
Thank
once
you.
this one is approved,
Okay.
then we can present that one as well. I have it.
I
so.
would make a motion that we approve the adjustment as stated by Mrs. Craven
I'll
for
call for a vote.
Christmas Eve.
Call for a
Aye.
vote. Aye. Okay.
Okay, so that being said, the Christmas Eve 4 hours will go into effect. The county commission holidays that are currently then to be provided to the employees is New Year's Day, January 1, Human Rights Day, the third Monday in January, President's Day, the third Monday in February, Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, June 19th, and whether that, depending on what day that falls on, it would be celebrated on the Monday. I have that information further down. Independence Day, July 4th, Pioneer Day, July 24th, Labor Day, first Monday in September, Columbus Day, second Monday in October, Veterans Day, November 11th, Thanksgiving Day, the fourth Thursday in November, the day after Thanksgiving, and the fourth Friday of November. Christmas Eve, the 24th, those 4 hours, and Christmas Day, December 25th.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
I would make a motion to approve the 2025 holiday schedule.
Call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Passes, thank you.
And thank you for that Christmas Eve. A lot of families will really appreciate that.
Okay, it's time for public comment. Public comment is time for public comment, not public debate. County will listen to the comments made, take them into consideration. Any comments made might be something the county cannot or has no power to act on. This is a recorded public meeting. If someone would like to make a comment, please come forward. Wait till the microphone is available and state their name for the record. Be respectful, no interrupting. Please wait your turn. Total 15 minutes will be allotted for public comment. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make their comment. And yes, you get the bell.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Oh,
It was it should be
That's what you get
red.
this time.
Yeah. I think it's off.
Thank you, Dan. And now
Try it
we're both
again.
awake.
Now try it.
how about now?
I think that's
You
on.
know, we all miss Ed Serbuchen, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, those who know Ed know I've got big shoes to fill. Okay.
Good man.
First thing, I'd like to compliment Travis on his presentation. I'd like to see more of that. I would also like to see something like that on Ashley Gorge, which brings me to the real reason why I'm up here. It's number 6. What the heck's number 6? Can you tell us?
It's an agreement for the environmental studies.
Assessment, yeah.
Can you expand on that?
It's part of the RTP grant that has been approved for that project. They do require that to be done.
What will they be looking at?
I can tell you that after the 10th.
Gennie can apparently speak to that.
We'll decide
Very
what the
good.
courts
That's what
decide.
we're hiring, is it on? That's what we're hiring the engineering firm to figure out. So there's a checklist that RTP gives out, and they're going to determine if there's categorical exclusions or whether they have to perform certain surveys. So there's a scope of work, and they'll do a cultural survey, a biological survey, an evaluation report, hazardous waste review, and then they'll determine other environmental factors based on the RTP guidelines. So that's all available, but it's just, I don't have that. That's why we're hiring this firm. We're not doing it, Sunrise is. So it's part of the federal requirements to get that funding.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. When I suggested that we have something like what Travis presented for something that's as controversial as Ashley Springs, I don't think it necessarily would be a place for the public commission meeting, but it would certainly be nice for those of us who are interested, so we could be better informed. You know, we've all talked a little bit about the possibility of moving the county commission meeting from its present time to a time some days afterwards, so the public could look at what had happened and what was spoken of at the work sessions. So hope you're still considering that.
That will be announced next meeting.
Fabulous. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dan.
Mark Caldwell. Some people I know that live up on Fifth South have told me that they've seen surveyors out on Fifth South, and they've stopped and asked the surveyors what they're doing, and they said they're surveying for the county. They're working for Sunrise Engineering, and they're surveying for the county to put in a path of some kind from the Mazer Cemetery to the Kids Canal. And I've not seen any information released on that. If that's the plans of the county, could we get something out to the public so we know what's going on?
That is on the Dino Trails. Matt may be able to speak to that a little bit more, but it is actually just a study right now. It's not,
Okay.
we have to find out if it is anything we would
everybody's
be
going-
moving forward with.
The county's doing this, and we don't know anything about it, so.
It is at the Dino Trails meetings. Those are public. Anyone can come to those.
Yeah, how many people go to it?
I can't make them go to a meeting.
Okay, thanks.
The information is out there, Dino Trails. If anyone wants to know, Dino Trails has a meeting, usually monthly, at 3 p.m. up in the large conference room, in the commission large conference room. I believe it's the third or second Thursday? Second Thursday of each month. Anyone is welcome to come to that meeting. It is a public meeting. It has been public for years. And they discuss all of the trails and proposed trails, the priorities, the general, the master trail plan that has been approved. That trail is on it. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Matt, if you would.
So for that project, the county received a grant last year, I think, maybe 2 years ago, to do a feasibility study for a trail along Fifth South. So that's what they're doing. They're just looking at if it's possible, what hindrances there might be. They're looking at all the possibilities, and then they're going to summarize that and see if it's a feasible project or not a feasible project. And then at that point, we would know if it's something we want to look at doing or not. And so that's what that project is. So
Thank you.
Anyone else? Not seeing anybody, we'll close public comment. Call for a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.